Gabe. See what happened to the days of Archie Bunker when not everything was such a fucking issue, man. I'm
Everyone,
like,
if I say
on.
Mike the Jew, everyone's gonna think I voted for Trump.
Why? That's funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm
and
loud.
everybody's airplane,
Yep.
and
yep.
we're
I'm
good.
flying. Mic check 1, 2. Ooh, support the Jew. I gotta take a picture of that and send it to my friend Glenn.
It's a great shirt. Yeah.
It's awesome.
AJ, do you want a beer?
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and have a beer.
Go have a beer.
Thank you.
Then I'll have a beer.
There you go.
This
Thank
way
you
they're
for
both
the
open.
beer.
There
I've
you
never had a Corona in a can before. This is so
There you
awesome.
go.
Wanted to avoid bottle tops because none of us had an
Get an
opener.
opener, yeah.
So this is awesome.
Yeah.
I forgot to check in, but okay.
We'll do 5 seconds of silence, and I'll start the intro music.
Okay.
Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. Welcome to Blamestorming. Blamestorming. In a post-truth world, there's plenty of blame to go around. 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 Join Dave Cyrus and Marissa Smith as they blamestorm about today's hot topics.
Hey guys, and welcome to Blamestorming. I'm Marissa Smith. Dave Cyrus is out. He's doing Hollywood shit, but in his replacement, we've got the AJ Mattioli.
Yes. I'm so excited to be back.
Thank you for doing this show for us.
Oh, it's so much fun.
We have Michael Benson with us,
Hello.
and we have Mike Drayden.
Hey, what's up?
So, AJ, how have you been?
Work has been great. Can I answer it like that? Work has been great.
Yeah.
Other than that, 2019 is it's just
Sucking-
really.
Sucking balls?
Ooh, it's starting off with finding out my ex of 12 years is getting engaged, and
Oh, shit.
but he's bold, so fuck that guy. I'm like, I'm gonna have my full head of hair. and then some money things went down, and it's been a little bit crazy. But work-wise, things have been fantastic. And for anyone that's known me from the podcast, like work is essentially my lover. So if work is going good, a good portion of my life is going good. So
Yeah, work is your girlfriend.
yeah, work is my girlfriend. I'm always in a polyamorous relationship.
Yeah.
Work and somebody
It's-
else.
I
right?
feel it. Stand-up's my boyfriend.
That's
It's
it.
my fucking fiance. But now, how long was your ex with the fiance for? If you guys were together for 12 years.
Yeah. They've been together for about a year. But they knew each other from high school, from college.
Oh,
So,
all right.
yeah. So
all
I like
right.
to just think I ruined that relationship for the time in between.
and
that makes
you
me
put them on a
fine.
12-year hiatus.
Yeah. It's like just ruin something.
yeah, like, oops, I did it
Yeah,
again.
my bad. Yeah, that was it was a little weird, you also like, being a trans man and her being with like a cis man is also, sometimes can be a little kick in the throat, but I wish her the best, but I'm happy that I got her for the hot years. I got her for 25 through 35. So.
Why do I wish I had Adele playing in the background right now? I'll
Bring
find
fire
someone
to
else,
the rain.
someone like you. Okay.
Yeah, so that was yeah, I've been doing a lot of going out and finding out like how people kind of deal with that and deal with like kind of being a little more open about it and talking about it with people and being like, how do you move on? How do you get over that and like really get over it?
I feel like so most of my exes end up engaged or living with the very next girl after me. And so
like thanks for practicing on me.
Yeah,
asshole.
so like my whole thing is that like I've made you a better man for the next bitch.
Yeah, like she's studying therapy now, like how to be a psychiatrist. She's working with gay kids. I'm
Yeah.
like, I made you a better person. Like, I made you, and then what the?
Yeah, but like, you know, I don't know. That's why, like, to be honest with you, because like the first, like when I was like younger, I definitely got more involved with like trying to help a guy get like dress better or like
Well, I
try
mean,
to
you have to be seen with him, so I mean, it's important. That he
now
dresses
like I
right.
Right,
like
we all got an image to maintain.
right, exactly, but like now like I don't put as much effort into trying to make a person better than I did when I was younger. I
Yeah.
feel like that should stop when I was 30. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's just like now it's just like you need to be a person I'm okay with right now. I'm not trying to like make you a better person because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I know that sweater is going to end up in someone else's Christmas photo, so like why did I buy you cashmere? Like, it's just like you've been polyester your entire life. I gave you an Italian cashmere sweater, and I literally saw this in some other bitch's family's
Oh, it's the worst.
Christmas photo, and I'm just like, you know something? I'm not buying shit for anyone anymore. I'm
Yeah.
done.
No,
I'm done.
My ex in all the pictures, she's got a pendant I bought her. I'm like, get the fuck.
Yeah, take that
I'm like,
shit off.
everything should be returned, even if it's not worth a lot of money. Just give me everything.
I've noticed in my breakup, only the trivial, worthless stuff is what was thrown back at me. You know what I mean?
They leave it behind.
Right.
Yeah,
Totally.
they don't look at it.
Yeah. Nothing of value comes back. They just send back the bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Like I have your Spider-Man DVD that like,
Right.
Yeah.
that they just don't want in the house.
Here's your clatter toe ring that you gave me for my birthday, you bitch. Yes.
Turn my pinky toe brown.
I definitely I agree. I like my new thing is maybe not post therapy, but at least like know you need therapy. Like
Yeah.
that's, like even if you're not gonna get it, just like know you a little bit cray cray.
Yeah.
Know? Like, acknowledge it. Like
Well, a little
Knowing
cray
is
cray.
half the battle.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
I'm kind of more so just living it one night at a time. Like I'm not even trying to entertain the idea of what they are now or what they will be. Like,
It's
is
what-
this
yeah.
satisfactory for tonight? If yes, let's spend a few hours
Yeah.
together and do something. And it doesn't guarantee a future association.
No, and
Yeah.
honestly, I've been becoming a dater, a constant dater, I guess.
Okay.
Where I feel like I won't even go to dinner anymore if I'm like, well, girl could be across from me, so I'll get someone to go out to dinner with me.
You gotta cleanse the palate. Like I've had some pretty lowbrow dates. Like I met one woman at the Jersey outlets at like 11:30 at night. It's all closed. You walk
creepy.
around and it worked out. I mean, I landed the kiss and a bit more. I mean,
Yeah.
So that's how straight people cruise. Like, gay guys, right, will end up in a park or at a bar, right, or like walking down, an alley in the West Village once upon a time. But straight people, they cruise the outlet malls at 11 o'clock at night.
I
'Cause
want
you
to be
always
clear.
window
I
shopping.
want to be
Window
clear. I
shopping.
didn't successfully pick someone up at the outlets. I directed her. She directed me to meet her at the outlets because she lived by them.
Okay.
Oh,
But,
Okay,
but I
okay.
mean that's a no
So
cost.
straight people
Yeah.
cheat on their boyfriends with other guys at the outlet mall, and that's how that works.
No. This was not cheating. This is post relationship.
Oh,
All my infidelity, unfortunately, happened at work. I mean, it was extremely impulsive and short sighted, and I don't want to dig too far into details about that, but yeah, it was crammed into the space of a few minutes here and there.
Yeah,
Those are-
see, like now I'm single and I'm doing the app stuff, but like I will not go for coffee. Like if someone wants to like invite me out for like drinks and dinner, I'll do that. But if somebody's like, "Oh, let's go have coffee," and I'm like, I can have Starbucks with my friends.
Okay, see now, I had this. I felt the same way. I was like, if I'm gonna ask a girl out, I'm gonna take them out to a nice dinner. So I actually was like into this girl, and I was like, oh, like let's go to the supper club, and like afterwards we went to a bar and had drinks. It was really nice, but like at the end, like I wasn't expecting anything. Like we weren't like. It didn't like. It wasn't like sexy times. Like we kind
Right.
of didn't weren't feeling each other. But at the end, like I got her in a cab and said, had a great night. And I was telling my friends, and they were like, "Well, she probably thought that you were assuming sex was gonna happen." And I was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And they were like, well, if you buy a girl a dinner, like in this day and age, they think that the guy's assuming, and I'm like, well, what am I gonna take them out for coffee? Like they can buy it themselves.
No, yeah.
Well,
So like that is okay. So I feel
Mm.
like that's some millennial bullshit
Mm,
because they don't right. They don't. So millennials think that like anything above McDonald's means that you're trying to fuck them.
Yeah, no, this
Like,
this girl
this
was
is-
not even dressed up for like a dinner. Like
Yeah,
she thought I was
I-
taking her to McDonald's.
It was
Like,
just like, but I feel like for me, it's just kind of like the dinner is so that we can have a conversation to figure out whether or not we're worth each other's time.
yeah.
It's not about like, oh yeah, like, well, because I'll tell you right now, I've had guys take me to like really expensive dinner, and like, I'm not doing anything. I know I'm not doing anything, and I know that they're not expecting me to do anything. But if you have like low self-esteem and you think that like your only value is like your orifices, then you think that like if somebody's spending more than $9.99 on a fucking mozzarella platter, that they're trying to get in your pants.
Well, look at the demographic, though. I mean, if we can all relate that when we were in our 20s and early 30s, we were one giant fucking hormone walking around all the time, looking for the next thing to touch and get off on.
Yeah.
Right.
As we've gotten older, we realize we've discovered the value in things.
Yeah.
Right.
And for me, I would much rather, and I've done this, I would much rather meet someone for coffee and engage them in conversation, especially in today's day and age, because not many people are educated. And I'm not talking
Well,
about
yeah.
just book smart, but educated in general. I
Life.
want to get a sense of, okay, you're physically and visually attractive to me. Okay, I want to see what's going on upstairs.
Right.
Can we have a conversation outside of, oh my God, did you see what Chloe was wearing today? Oh, I need the new dress.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, we
all that
can't- yeah.
stuff. So
Unless you want to talk about Billy Porter's.
Oh, well,
outfit
that's
for
a whole
Oh,
other-
yeah.
you must
We
know.
had to get
you
in there.
must. You must. Let's not go there. I'm gonna lose my shit right now. 'Cause he's a dear friend of mine, and oh my God, that's
Yeah.
just.
I'm
We'll,
like,
we'll
if
come
you-
back to that.
Yeah.
But I want to know. I want to know. You got like two bits. Moving around up there, and you can form a sentence, and you're a little bit. Cultured in some sense, especially people my age. Like I'm gonna be 50 in like 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
No.
When I meet
Yeah.
people, I meet people, I want to
Brown
know
don't crack.
for real, right?
I get so mad when I realize how old he is.
No, that's a lot, yeah. So I want to know these things, but young people today, they're all in the quick gratification of things, and that is partly, I guess, and when I say our fault, I mean people our age who have put these devices and things in front of our faces, where they're just seeing the instant.
Yeah.
Okay, now next, thank you next,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shit, and it's like, how do you develop something? How do you grow something? How do you invest in something?
I mean, even
If
with
it's
the
like
dating apps, like I've never really done Tinder up until recently, and I find myself becoming more and more shallow going through it. Where like in the regular world, when I'm talking to people, I've dated all shapes, size, colors, creeds, everything in between. But like, it makes you go right into what's my normal type. Like
Right.
I'm not even reading. I'm just looking for what I normally find attractive.
Yeah.
But like when I look at the people I've dated in the past couple of years, none of them actually fit that
Mold.
That
Yeah.
mold.
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
It kind of sticks in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me myself, I do a lot of what Mikey was describing, but for me it's a late stage qualifier in the sense that if I have relatively low interest but I'm not like disgusted or anything, I'm going to try to enjoy myself, but it's probably going to
Yeah.
fade out.
But,
Like I'm
I
not
can
keeping the
but
person
you
around.
Can enjoy yourself like for a dinner.
By enjoy myself, I mean hook up.
Okay,
To be
fair
clear,
enough.
I'm not like gonna lowercase enjoy myself. I'm gonna uppercase enjoy myself.
Capital L.
No, I'm at that age now. And I've seen younger friends my age and in between. They're connecting somehow, and they're getting married. I don't know how that's happening.
Yeah.
And here I am, still after so many years, single and not able to find someone who gets my weird. I'm looking for. I say this all the time. I'm still looking for my weirdo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, the here right now.
Look for the lid for my pan.
Yeah, whether it's a guy or a girl,
Yeah.
I'm still looking for my weirdo. I mean, I could take care of business myself, and 95% of the time, it's the whole process of getting laid these days because of the apps and all that.
Right.
It is so much more work. By the time I meet up with someone, I'm like, I need a nap. Okay, give me a 20-minute nap, and then maybe something will happen. But I don't.
No,
Want to
because so I recently went out on a date with this guy. I met him on Bumble, and he's like a nice enough guy. He's like younger, but like we have like kind of like off schedules, and like he just will randomly text me at like, let's say 11 o'clock in the morning, like, oh, what are you doing after work today? And I'm just like, no, like I'm like you cannot ask me this. Like if I was dating somebody and we're together, then yes, you can hit me up with the random like, I just want to see you tonight.
Yeah,
but like
this
this is like date number 2. You can't hit me up randomly for date number 2. Like what do I look
this
like?
This is really good advice for me because I feel like I try to pull that off. What's a better strategy that I can land on my feet where I have an unfamiliar woman that I'm trying to get to satisfaction?
I'd love to see you this week. When are you free?
Keep it more open-ended. I got what you're laying down.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
But in the same day, it's a little bit too confining. I get that.
It's
Okay.
a broader net.
No, but
You're
I
basically
feel
saying
like
we're
you're
doing-
treating me like an option, not as like a choice. Like,
like why wasn't
And I
tonight,
think you're right.
why wasn't tonight available 2 days
2 days ago? Right.
So like something obviously got canceled.
and now I'm
now
the
you got
second.
time for me.
I'm the second bitch. Like, no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like, honey,
Whether
you're.
that means it was a night out with your boys or whatever it was, all of a sudden, unless you saying like, oh, my mom canceled on me.
Yeah.
Are you available tonight? I know I'm second choice. I'm fine with being second choice to your mom. But
Right.
like,
But,
unless
like,
it's
no,
that,
just-
See, to me, right away, I came off with, oh, I got a call from someone or a text from someone. They were thinking of me and they want to know if I was free because they are interested in spending time with me. I'm coming at it from that point of view. It doesn't seem like I was a second choice or a last minute thing. Or if you started
an
out with,
only
hey, I
child.
was. See, that explains a lot. That
Yeah,
explains a lot.
I'm an only child. Like, you need to like show that this bitch is a priority.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not
I-
feeling this like second fiddle, third child bullshit.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
get that.
no.
I was
Like-
raised by only children. Both my
Here's the-
parents are only children. I know exactly what that's all about. Them always.
Here's another angle I feel I have on that, like in the sense that I don't act too hungry or eager, even with the chicks that I'm like mildly interested in the sense that like it's sometimes some of these people we're dating or seeing, they're not really looking to jump in the boat. They're kind of gun shy. They're kind of nervous. So I'm just hanging back. Like, sure, I'm thinking about this woman. Sure, I'm thinking about asking her somewhere, but I don't. But then you get to a point where like, I need to ask her to do something about, and then you do. It's not that he was even necessarily pursuing something else, because I know myself, there's times I haven't been, and then you do kind of pull the fourth quarter move where you're trying to be like, hey, are you free tonight? And you're right, it doesn't work. But
And I mean, like, it's
Yeah.
fine if you kind of know that's where the like for me, it's like if I mean, there's been girls that we know that there's no great romance, but like we like each other's company, and like those are the girls that I expect the day of, like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Where I know it's like we're gonna probably go out and have dinner, have a nice conversation, and go and have a nice evening afterwards.
Right.
But that is kind of what that relationship is. It's more, at 38, I need a little bit, I like to call it emotional fluffing. So like I need a dinner beforehand, so, so like, and I have that with a couple of very nice girls, and we, mutually, and it's been discussed, like, hey, like, you're pretty much a really good friend. I hate to friends with benefits, but essentially a friend with benefits. Where like once something else happens, we're not going to be doing that anymore. Those are the day of texts that I'm fine
yeah,
with.
but like, so I've had I'd say probably over the last like 4 or 5 years, I've like cut out all the friends with benefits in my life, and
Yeah.
so like
it was cold. It's been cold. What did you expect me to do?
I'm still cold. I'm still trying to find something of value, but like it's just like, because I had friends with benefits for like that lasted like 15 years, like 6, 7 years, like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
my one of my longest friends with benefits was like my first boyfriend in high school. So like it's like,
amazing.
yeah. So it was just kind of like we didn't do anything all of high
you
school.
know his whole like
His
how
whole
much
arc.
better. Yeah, his arc.
Yeah. And so like, and what really was the nail in the coffin was that he got his dick pierced, and like then I was just kind of like, all right, I'm done.
Wow.
Mike has
It's
one.
just like,
Yeah, I have one.
yeah, I
Why?
can't.
It's like a bull coming at you.
Okay, if I'm gonna be 100% for real,
yeah.
I have too bad a luck to try to put a pierced penis inside of me.
Well,
Okay.
it's not like it's gonna hook on an IUD or anything like that.
Hey,
It's just
I'm
Oh my
I
It's
have
not.
flatlined from pistachio ice cream. I cannot friggin' like risk having a pierced penis in me. Like,
I mean,
it's gonna.
It's put in like it's like a bar, right, with two balls. at
well,
the
there's
end?
there's a ring.
some,
Like
and
I
there's
have
some
I have a
ring.
ring, and there's
Okay.
a bar, and there's
See, I just know
there's
my,
nothing loose hanging around. That's
But
gonna,
like, I just know like from my earrings, like I had the ear project for a while and has the balls on the end, and those things would get loose and fall off all the time, and I'm just like,
You gotta be
I don't wanna
fishing
play-
for
yeah, I
this
don't wanna
shit
play
up in my
hide and
hoo-ha.
seek
No, thank you.
when
Like-
these are twisted on, there's a click at the end at the top, the one that loosens to pull it out.
Okay.
So it sort of snaps into place. And the ring with the ball on it, it's kind of like a tension that no matter what, it's just not gonna, unless you need like a
And
And
plier
then
to-
also like with friction, like how is a condom working on this? Like I'm not.
oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know how condoms work. I mean, I'm like,
But like I'm just kind of like, you know something, like
Yeah,
if I
how
was
does that
actually
break?
into him like that, like we would have been together, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
not trying to have your baby, like no.
that's actually you would know the answer to that.
Well, how do condoms work with
no,
them?
no, no, yeah,
Oh.
like how's it? Yeah, well,
like
exactly.
the
how does it
friction, like
break?
isn't like the
There's-
friction, like
It's
a
not
sharp
it's-
item.
Right, it's not a sharp item. All the edges are there's no edges really. It's all cylindrical and smooth. And yeah, the only sharp thing about it is when you get your dick pierced. That's about it.
Yeah,
But
guess
you
that's
know,
right, yeah.
it folds to the side, or when you put a condom on. I mean, I haven't used condoms in a long time, but I mean,
Yeah, like
know,
from what I remember.
from what I remember,
in
you know,
1984.
yeah, in '84 I was using condoms. But no, I mean, from what I understand, the feedback I've gotten is that it feels like something extra moving around in there, and it's sort of erotic.
I mean,
and
that
they-
I
was
mean,
the
I
tongue
get that
ring
for a
thing.
tongue ring, but
Yeah.
like a tongue
Same
ring.
principle in the sense that basically, mucous membrane. I would imagine, vaginal walls probably aren't the most discreet in terms of feeling. It's not like the pads of your fingertips or so forth.
Right.
So I would imagine that the metal object, could deliver a little extra something to an area that doesn't have good localization and understanding of what's exactly happening. I don't know. I don't have a
It's
vagina. I can't tell you
nothing
exactly how that works.
That's
Well,
gonna
I
be
can-
more pleasurable than a vibrating ring, like
Like a
and that
cock
doesn't
ring
go
or something?
inside, like
Yeah,
it's
I
hitting
mean,
all the
that's-
right spots.
That's a win.
Like-
I mean, on that same topic, if we're just going to be talking about penetrative sex for a minute, I feel like way more women should be rubbing their own bean during the act. I feel like that's the quickest route to victory. I think it takes a lot of pressure off of everybody
Wait,
involved.
who's not?
The quickest
I don't
route
know.
to
I've only
victory.
only one of the gals I've been with was a dedicated self bean rubber during the act.
Bean rub-
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so
I
they,
haven't heard
oh my
bean
God.
rubbing
So
in a
they,
minute. So.
the others you have been with, they expected you to do it in addition to everything else.
That or they're neglected. Either one or the
Yeah,
other.
that's a lot of
That's a lot of
that's a lot of weight on just your left arm. If your hands and that's.
Oh, first off, I mean, missionary, I feel is horse shit. It's,
Listen, it's all I can think when I'm thinking about straight sex. I just assume. I also think about straight sex like two rhinoceroses, and then he mounts his mate.
You're thinking bad, like immigrant sex, like.
I think it happens all sorts of ways. I mean, realistically, I don't know.
I just know maybe it's just from all the rom-coms that I've watched. I've never been in an actual in a relationship with a man that I just how many headaches can you fake in your life? I just feel like it's just so sad.
I don't know.
for
With
straight
me,
women.
he's faking the headaches. I'm just saying.
Are,
It's
are
like,
you,
oh
are
my
you
god,
saying that
again tonight. It's like,
most of the sex that's had is subpar sex that people
Yeah.
just lumber through? I think
Yeah,
you're right in the
I
sense
feel
that
bad.
people are not enlightened about what they're doing. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of that.
Like everyone, just go to the
Absolutely.
kink community and have a good time and learn yourself.
Truly, that's what it's all about.
I mean,
Self-exploration and
I've
figuring
all
heard. That out.
Me and Mike have heard that's what the kink community is like.
Heard?
We've
Have you
heard.
met me? That's what all that herd is about. Yes, you're calling me out, and I'm coming out. I will tell you, the kink community is all
That's
about that
amazing.
self-exploration and figuring out what is, besides penetration, how do you
How to-
connect with
yep.
your erotic self?
And
You
I
know,
w-
whether it's through, feathers, water, touching, sniffing, leather, rubber,
It's
toys, all of that
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, and
It's
once,
more of an
once people,
elaborate art form. It's
it can be that.
It can
yeah.
be that. It can be
Yeah.
that.
Extra.
I've seen amazing things done with wax. Like
Mhm.
amazing things done with wax play, fire play. Like I wouldn't call myself a kinkster, but I dated a girl for 9 months ish that ran kink conventions and ran amazing, shut down hotels and boarded up the windows and had 500 kinksters in a hotel in Connecticut. And I was a little bit okay, this isn't really my scene. What's happening? And it was mostly straight people, and it was queer friendly. And within 2 days, went from judging people and being that's not cool. What are you thinking about right now? What? And 2 days later, I'm on a freaking leash, and I'm being walking around naked, butt ass naked, having conversations with people oh, hey, girl, how you living?
I wish I would pay money.
Is this at a
Money I don't
Holiday Inn
have.
somewhere?
It's literally out of Sheridan. And
Yeah.
we just
Shit.
we literally
Well, that's
just go-
fantastic.
yeah, it's
That's
amazing.
awesome, yeah.
It's amazing. And then all day there's classes, so it's not just
See,
a
I-
fuck class. It's
I wish
there's
Expedia would
classes.
pitch that kind of thing where you're randomly looking at rooms. It would have highlighted Kink Fest there. I could have used that in Miami a few weeks ago when I was on my way back home. That
Yeah,
could have
no,
been
could've
good.
been fun.
Instead, I ended up putting a freaking 12-pack in my sink with ice, and I'm
Yeah.
just wandering the hallways drinking beers and hanging by the pool. It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, it was
could've
something, and I don't really go after we broke up. I didn't really go back to into the kink world, but I will say that if you want to feel body positive and feel sexy and wanted and free, go to
The
a kink
kink community
convention.
is- yeah,
I don't think you
absolutely.
ever really leave. That's an
Well, yeah, true.
unsubstantiated opinion. I just figure I'd throw it out there.
No, once you're a kinkster, you always are, because you're always welcomed in, and you find your people, and you find your experiences and your adventure and your exploration, but you never really leave.
Yeah.
You're always
It's
a part
hard
of
to
it.
recede to your former dimensions. or
Exactly,
former-
because you've expanded,
Right,
And
yeah.
that you'll forever change, and in a good way too.
In a good way, yeah.
So now,
Yeah.
Mike, what has been your experience as being a kinkster in the kink world?
Well, my journey started back in the day. I used to be the office receptionist at the LGBT community center,
Okay.
and one of my responsibilities was to collect the rent from the user groups that use the community center. And there was this one group called GMSMA. It's the Gay Men's S&M Activists.
Okay.
And that's how I discovered what S&M was. I knew what S&M was, but I didn't know that there was, gay people who did this. So I went to a couple of their workshops, and I went to a couple of the demos that they did at the, which is now gone. It was at the Mine Shaft,
Okay.
and at the Eagle, which is the original Eagle.
Yeah.
And that was my experience, and I learned so much before I was ready. Yeah, and that was my introduction to it. But fast forward a few years, because of my own sexual explorations and experience, I've hooked up with a lot of different types of men, and a lot of men in the West Village at the time, because I was taking theater classes over there and just hanging out with my house friends. I would hook up with these men who have harnesses and slings and all these different things. And I was getting an education on the side.
like capable of suspending people?
Yes,
harnesses?
it's kind of like
Oh, wow.
It's like four corners chained up and on a leather or a
What apparatus are you
you
wearing
just
to be
lay.
suspended?
You're not wearing anything. You're like on a leather like hammock,
Mm,
and it's like suspended in four
Cool.
corners, and that's your sling.
got it.
That's one type of.
One type, yeah.
So I took all of those experiences, and then most people know me from when I was doing gay porn, and I think one of the most popular ones, which I think was the second one I ever did, was for Butch Bear Films, and it's called The House of Leather.
Okay.
And I was chained up and flogged, and it was really kinky.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
a lot of people don't realize that the things that they like at massage parlors is like kind of
It's part of
started
that,
at
yeah.
the kink community.
Like
yeah.
it rhymes with. It's
I mean, like right before cupping, right before the Olympics, when cupping on people's backs was a big thing. It's like a massage thing where cups are warmed up and it suctions your skin and it's supposed to release
toxins.
Toxins, yeah.
okay. Okay.
like before it was like famous like in like kink communities were doing that all over the place. I mean, we were doing it instead of just warm, it was like hot, but like a lot of the things are like flogging, for
Yeah.
instance, just feels like when you put your shower on a massage setting and it's beating down on your back. That's kind of the same feeling as flogging.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if it's
If you're
nice-
starting out at the slow, soft pace, but then you work into a deeper
Yeah.
activity.
I don't know if this is too big of a jump, but I've thought about. I've been trying to figure out how I could market sailing to the public, and I have a sailboat in New Orleans, and I've thought to myself, what if you could have like a slightly like leather-oriented, BDSM-oriented sort of sailing experience? Now, there's safety to be concerned about, I feel, especially
Well,
above decks and so forth.
I mean,
don't
yeah.
know.
I mean, you make sure that you have someone. You restrict like going off the boat. Like you
Oh,
can't,
yeah.
because some people are into water torture kind of stuff.
Right.
Which is a big thing.
Well, how
Right,
big is
right.
your boat? I mean, is there room to have like an?
It's 32 feet on deck, 11-foot beam. So it's almost like 1.5 times the volume of this room with a lower ceiling is the functional interior.
That would
It's
me and
it's
Mike are already
snug.
planning
I-
a party.
Yeah, I know people who know people. You're all right. I'll,
Like the
I'll,
in-
I'll take care of you.
I'm, like,
I got
I'm
you.
on my phone.
So
to
you found your
invite-
producers.
No, I think if you connect with the right people in the leather community in New Orleans, there are many. They can tell you what you need to do, what you'll probably do. You probably figure out what kind of insurance coverage just in case. You
Yeah.
never know. You could do that. Would be a great income generator. I would
would.
wholeheartedly suggest this.
I mean, what's nice about it is it eliminates the who hosts factor and the where factor, in the sense that I feel like a lot of times when people are sort of exposing themselves to things that are fringe to their own present lifestyle, they'd rather do it at the Sheraton or someone else's place or so forth. So if people are meeting at a spot in common that is no allegiance to any of them in the party.
Well, you
and
could do like a
that's
whole
huge,
sightseeing thing during the day, and then,
And then
you
do
know,
that
a
at night.
little sightseeing at night.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point, because it's worth getting to know the people before you
And-
end up
and a lot
tied up
of-
in a boat.
What the kink community does when it's organized, they have these things called munches, which is just a group of people that are in the kink community that go to a diner and just have food. And it's knowing that even though we're not talking about kink, if you find out that I do kinky things, you're not going to call my employer and get me fired.
Right.
So it's making sure, because a lot of, that...
Does that still happen?
I'm
Oh,
trying to
God, yeah.
understand
That's
this
tough.
dynamic you just described. Like, I've actually heard the term munches before, and we'll double back to that in a second. But you're saying, so let's say 15 people get together at a diner.
Mhm.
Is it like a group thing like I just described?
Yeah, like it's,
Okay,
it's a group
so
thing.
it's at a munch, and say a bunch of people are meeting each other. What mechanism makes it so everybody's at peace and nobody violates the trust? I'm
There's
trying to understand
usually,
how it works.
well, once you're kind of in the kink community, people, it's all about consent. And right now we talk about consent in a physical way, but it's also getting the consent to open that up, and to talk about it, and know that this person is, you need your consent. Like, I'm going to talk about, you and our experience tonight. Like, if say we had a kinky experience, I'm going to and like that was something I would have to ask your permission if I'm going to go out and talk about.
And it's formal.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the minute
Yeah.
there's negotiations for everything.
Yeah.
There's
See,
a lot of
it's a
talking.
mechanism I'm minimally aware of. There's an individual I used to work with, and I'm not going to say his name just because he's not here. So you know.
You don't know.
But in
Yeah.
any event, the gentleman was the most intriguing guy. He left one career and he came to work where I was working, and he was vibrant and he was interesting, and he described how he had his second date bag, and it was tied into kink. Like,
Oh,
in other
okay.
words, he was in that community. He described these gatherings he'd go to, and they'd all hang out in the woods, and if you wore a lock on your chain on your neck, it meant you were taken, and this,
Oh,
that, and the
yeah.
other thing, and all. He
Yeah.
was knowledgeable about it, and he opened me up to a world that existed that I wasn't aware
It's
of.
a totally different world.
And it's very fringe, and it's very, like, it's almost like you need to find, like, the little hollow that you enter into it
It's
through.
a little bit easier now because of FetLife, which is a Facebook type of
Yeah.
fetish.
Fet life.
FetLife, yeah. I'm
That's new.
surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised.
That's news?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, FetLife.
You know,
I
my
know
brain
about
has been in all
FetLife.
other avenues lately.
yeah. But it's so you can meet other kinksters and not have to have like a weird conversation on your second date, like, "Hey, I'm gonna pee on you,"
So,
you
in
know-
other words,
you
you
know
kind
ahead
of
of
already
time.
know the details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a profile.
Yeah, on a lot of people put like with their hard
Seems like it
nose
would have
on
saved
and
R.
things like
Kelly
that.
a whole lot of problems.
It really would have. Just ask,
know.
yo, do you like to, do you like to get peed on? No,
was-
I'll pee on someone else then.
Weren't
Yeah.
minors a thing there, though, too?
Yeah.
though?
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a big problem.
That is-
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if there's
No, I don't
minors on
either.
FetLife, but
No,
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 R.
I'm
Kelly
just
I'm
saying,
speaking
like,
about.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I'm just saying, if he had gone on FetLife instead of,
If
I
he
don't
would've
know, the
had
playground,
If
it
he
would
would
have
have
been a lot
had
less problems.
people, if he would have had people that would have wanted that, as opposed to having to convince someone that they wanted it.
Guys, from my experiences that I'm talking kind of behind the curtain, not saying much, having somebody consent or demonstrate interest is positively critical, and it's how you land on your feet, like, in the sense that it took me, like, I don't know, every bit of 4 years to fall on my face, and it's because I lost my lesson
Yeah, and we're
about I crossed a boundary. When you cross a boundary, that's where you're gonna have problems. But when you sense something's there and you kind of crack the door open, the person wants you to crack the door open. That's why it's there. And it's not to say it's always an appropriate door people are cracking open, but sometimes between people agree to do things that maybe aren't supposed to happen, but both parties want it to
Yeah,
happen.
I think that I think that, like, going back to a previous conversation we were having off air, like, the way I met my, I refer to her as my ex-wife, 'cause common law and all that crap. But, like, we were together for 12 years. I met her. I was her stage manager, and and she was flirting with me, and I had to put her microphone on. I'm not the audio guy. I'm the stage manager. But for some reason, I had to put her microphone on every day. Sexual harassment.
Right.
And I mean, I was 21 years old, but, like, now I would never do
Me
those
too as
things.
fuck.
Yeah, now I would never. Now, I think that either way, we probably would have afterwards kind of contact. With theater, things end. So you're
Right.
like, okay, I only have to, like, be good for a month and a half, and then once
Yeah,
the
and
shows
then-
ended,
yeah.
I could hit on them. But, like, I wonder if we were in a corporate America kind of situation where we met and there wasn't an end date. It wasn't like, this is when we're not going to be coworkers. If we would have been together for so long, if we would have gotten together at all, like, where is that? It is. Interesting to think also, like, back in the day, how many girls I met on the subway.
Right.
Where now I'm, but also we had headphones, but not, like, we had one CD.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't
I'd be
like,
amazed to meet somebody on a subway
I
today.
mean,
like,
now
if
we
you could
have
pick
so
up
much.
somebody on a subway, like, that's pure magic in this day.
I
and
mean, it
age.
might
Yeah.
have just been boredom back in the day because, like,
No, I
without anything
respect
to
it.
do.
I
love it. I
I
agree.
saw plenty of women today walk by in the path station that I would have,
Yeah.
solidly
But
sold.
now it's like,
But it's tough to make an approach in that environment
yeah,
these days.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like, you can't, because everybody's like this. They're on their phone. Their
Yeah.
faces.
I think, yeah.
Their
Yeah.
faces down. If they're in their book, I'm like, that's a great person.
Well,
But
what-
everyone, if it's not a kid and they're in their devices, if they're not reading something important on they're playing video games, there's no human connection anymore.
No,
Yeah.
I used to love getting cruised or even cruising somebody on the subway. That's how I met a lot of guys that I dated.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
The one, of the 3 girls I ever dated, that's how I met one of them.
Right.
You don't like connect eyes or like now it's like, why are you staring at me?
Yeah, I
You
know,
know,
Right.
that's aggressive, dude. That's aggressive. Don't look
Yeah.
at me. Don't-
Connection used to be organic. It
It
was
was,
natural.
yeah.
It was person
Yeah.
to person. It was-
And I'm just nervous again. Like I'm getting more and more shallow with the Tinder, with the Tinder thing. Like 'cause it's just you have to like.
I
have
got
to
rid of them all.
Yeah, I think. I mean, not that they're working out for me anyway.
No, my experiences in the beginnings of like with Manhunt and Adam for Adam, it was great. You wanted to hook up, you know what it was. It was on your computer. That's it, and you got to walk away from it.
Right.
Yeah.
That was all
Yeah.
about getting laid.
Yeah.
Then they made it easier for you because now you can like, all right, on my way
Yeah,
home, I think I'm
Grindr.
gonna order in tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna look at my phone and do that. And then you have all the others. You got Scruff. You got
I mean, Grinder is
Grindr.
It's in feet. It's not even Tinder's in miles.
Is it?
Yeah.
Grinder
Yeah,
is
it's in
It's
feet,
literally
yeah.
like there's
It's
a
like you're
guy-
500 feet away.
Like if
Yeah.
if we're
Oh.
in a room and you're more, I think it's more than 5 feet away from me.
It'll
I'll
be
be
like 8.
It'll be like it'll be like 8. Yeah, anything like
And
it's
you're like,
if it's less than 5, it's immediate proximity. So that
Yeah.
means you're in a club and someone's as close to the person sitting next to you, and instead of just saying, "Hey, how you doing? Can I get you a drink?" you go on Grinder because you see them on Grinder, and you're like, "Hey, I'm next to you. Want to suck
Yeah.
my dick?"
I'm going to the
Yeah,
bathroom.
yeah. That's very
my cousin's gay, and he talks about Grinder, and apparently it's a fun thing for him in the sense
yeah,
that
I
it's
mean-
kind of it's
mean,
almost
it's
like
fun.
it's almost like sexual video games in the sense that it's not even real life. You're just kind of gaming the world,
Yeah.
and sometimes you set the hook and you really do something, but other
That
times
is-
you're just
yeah,
kind of
that is the
playing.
huge problem with it, and that's why I got rid of mine because what I was finding was unsolicited, dick pics and videos of one dude or guys fucking, and I'm like, I saw your picture and I said hello or whatever because you're interested in me. I don't want to see you fucking or getting fucked by someone else.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I firmly believe that everybody could use these things for the way they want to. I approach them as like a real dating app.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah.
get to meet each other. Let's talk. I find you attractive. You find me attractive because if you didn't, you wouldn't be responding.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's figure something out. Let's
But
get
they
to
don't
know
even-
each other.
they don't
No,
even read
they
that
just
in
want
your
to run.
profile.
Right. They don't read the profile.
They're not reading the
all
pro.
to
So
that.
even
No,
though it
nobody
says
reads
it, they're
profiles.
not reading
Yeah.
it.
They
Yeah.
don't. They don't. They just want to see the goods, and if if it's big enough for them or not, they'll let you know. And that's
I think
that's
that
pretty
it's
much
funny
it.
that they're sending like dick pics because like straight guys are sending like dick videos now. So
Oh yeah,
like,
they
Dick
do that.
video.
Well,
Yeah.
when I
Yeah,
say
they're
dick pics,
just
I'm
jerking
showing
off.
my age.
Like-
I
now
never-
it's like video, full on video. Like
yeah.
like I have friends who's like, I'll get a text message random. I'm like, please stop sending me your sex tapes. I don't want to see
Oh my
that.
God.
I
No,
don't.
like,
I mean,
it's-
I'm glad you're getting some, but I don't want to see that.
Yeah,
Dick
so, like,
videos
this-
don't work.
No,
But,
no,
yeah,
they
no.
don't. But like, they're not like fucking other people in these dick videos. It's like so the ones that I've gotten it, they're trying to like be kind of like playful or fun with it. So it's like they're like
wanna
bouncing it
entice you.
around and like they're like making
Wanna-
it dance and like you might stroke it a little,
Oh
but
my
they're trying to
God.
be a little coy with it, and it's just kind of like I'm like okay,
This
like
is a lot.
yeah, it's like this one guy sent me like literally like a 2-minute dick video, and I was just kind of like,
I just feel like if I would have known dick videos were a thing, my production company could be making some money. Like now that I know this is a market.
well, because they
Like,
have
It's
horrible
not
lighting.
too late.
Like,
It's not too late.
is it
yeah.
is it lit correctly? Does it need a
No.
bounce board?
Yeah, it totally needs a bounce board. It needs all the bounce board. It needs auto dick. Like,
The photographic concept I'm aware of is for lighting and it's tenting. What if there was like almost like a white cloth thick in a box concept that you'd put your whole scrotum and junk into an elastic hole in this white
And like
cloth box that you
and
would
like the
then put
photo
the
booth,
harsh
yeah.
lights
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
and you'd have this evenly lit, beautiful,
I
no
like
no
it.
hot spots on it, just
I feel like this is gonna be on Wish in like
Yeah.
Guys are doing it already, especially with the just for fans or OnlyFans. They're doing
Oh my
all of
God.
that. And
Wait,
very
what's just
elaborate.
for fans?
I
You
love-
don't know?
I
Okay,
know.
so
Okay.
basically,
Explain to me like I'm a 2-year-old.
okay, it is an app that you can use on your phone to record anything. Most people
Okay.
use it for videos, and a lot of porn stars use it
Yeah.
for their fans to pay them monthly fees to see them having sex.
So it's like
Okay.
Patreon.
It's like
But-
Patreon, but for
Okay,
porn.
Yeah.
And they have you can see, and you can tell because we're all in the business, so we know we can see where the lights, the key light is, and all the where the reflector was, all of that shit. And you can see they set this shit up so well, and they're finally, and I think this is a good check in their box. They're finally taking their image in their own hands, because before, when you're doing porn, you're doing all this stuff for a company who's putting it out there. You get paid for your time, and they're making money
And
overhand
constantly,
over that one thing. You get paid once, they make more over and over. With these little apps, I have friends who they were telling me like, well, I have one friend who makes 20 grand a month.
Mhm.
20 grand a month.
Oh shit.
Both
And
my
some of them
roommates
more,
make
some of
money,
them just less. But if they have a huge fan base and they're hooking up with the right people, and some of the guys they cross collaborate. So if you're a fan of, say, AJ Mattioli, and you're a fan of Mike Drayden, and then they decide they're gonna do a video together,
Yeah.
AJ will
Yeah.
baby. AJ will have it on his, I'll have it on mine, and we'll both rake it in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So,
kind of.
and then sometimes people will just sexually implode and they'll jizz themselves because they're like their two favorites are doing it together, and
Right.
like holy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just raking
See,
it all in.
This right here, these people
But they're
that like to
straight.
do that stuff.
They're straight
I don't
ones.
care how
just so you-
straight or not they are. That's not my issue.
No, I'm saying that it's available in case you want to find it.
No, no, because like that's like solid cuck shit. Like, not to go diving down that rabbit hole, but like that is like a piece of ass you're never gonna connect with. Like, in other words, you might as well just put in any Hollywood movie and just shake one out to it. Like, why are you bothering partying with your hard-earned cash for these?
Well, that I don't.
Look,
the
I-
cam
That's
girls.
not me.
The cam girls make. I dated a girl that was that did
Nope.
cam stuff, and the amount of money she got paid to sit on balloons.
Balloons?
And she's like, I never thought when I started doing cam work that like this was gonna be my thing. She's like, I was like, she was masturbating and stuff, and people would ask her to do
Pop!
things, and yeah,
Yeah.
and she's like masturbating and doing things like that and taking requests for tips and blah blah.
Yeah.
And it was like a friend's birthday, and there was a balloon in the room. And this guy was like, "I'll give you $30 to sit on the balloon," and she was like, "Yeah,
All right.
I'd do it for $5, but all right." And then like all these people were like tipping, like, "Do you have any more balloons?" So then the next day, she was like,
I
Alright.
gotta
I better go buy some balloons.
she went and bought a shit ton of balloons and was like, and just was like, all right, let's see who's tip. And she's like, by the end of the night, my ass was like bright red,
Which is what they want.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
what they want. But she's like, she made the first time she like. When she came in the room, she did like a whole baby girl thing.
Yeah.
But, like, look what I got from my guys, and like came in with like 12 balloons. She's like, people would just and like before she popped in, like people would tip in her like lick the balloon first, and I'm like, girl, make that money.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come
I mean, good for her, but
Yeah.
I could never envision myself wanting to be the consumer of that, because I personally would rather pluck some quiet wallflower from the real world and do what I want for 45 minutes.
I think
And
maybe
call it
some
good.
of it
But-
could be because
Like-
it's not the real world. Maybe it's
Yeah.
like,
Let's look at the evolution then a little bit. I mean, back in our grandfather's days, they had the dirty magazine that they kept, in the corner of the bed, when
Yeah.
nobody knew. They would that's what it was all about, the fantasy.
Mhm.
And then there were silent film porn
Yeah.
back in
Yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
The
You know,
and
first
that-
film,
that
the first
was
motion
filmed.
picture
Yeah.
ever was a porn.
Exactly right. It was
Yeah.
like that woman in
Yeah.
It was
the
just
in
a girl
the
taking a
long
sh-
in the underwears and shaking. That was
Yeah.
scandalous. To show your undergarments. It's all about the fantasy, and it has evolved. God, eventually, but we'll be long gone. I'm sure there will be like inserted brain holograms that
Yeah.
only you can see.
I can't even imagine what like the next like
20 years,
like,
the next
20
10
Yeah.
years, we'll see what's going to happen. But, it's all about the fantasy and even though what's made it popular and what's made it, what's the word I'm looking for?
Palatable.
No,
Marketable.
profitable,
Profitable.
is that people can connect with their fantasy now.
Yeah.
So like you said, your girlfriend here was getting, for a tip, hey,
Yeah.
lick the balloon.
Yeah.
These guys, they can, chime in, send messages.
The
and
shit I
and
never
get-
understand are those fuzzies or like the people that are
Oh, the-
into
the
the horse,
furries.
the
Oh,
furries, the
furries.
furries.
The furries.
I don't understand the furries and I don't understand the horse shit.
See, I will say with
Horse shit.
one of my
Like the pony play
Oh,
stuff.
pony play.
I like those bright colored wigs. Like, you give me a good looking woman and put a bright colored wig on her, I'm like, it doesn't make it worse. But I'm not paying money for it.
I think one of my friends. See, I don't get it. I don't get it either. But one of my friends did say to me, we will, because I was like, yeah, what's with the furry thing? Like, help me understand. She's like, I don't get it, but we were all just lucky enough to not be born furries. Like, so it's like if you think about it, it's like what I like in bed, furries are probably like, what the hell are you doing in bed? Like,
Yeah.
but that seems normal to me. So like we're just like luck of the draw is what like we're
I can't
sexually
believe we're
into.
gonna sit here and frown on furries after we
Oh,
greenlighted
no.
everything else.
Oh,
Are
no,
you kidding
never.
me?
No,
I,
mean,
I
it's
will
more of a-
straight up found on a furry. I don't
No,
give a
but they
fuck.
got my blessing. I'm not gonna do it, but like,
I mean,
I'm a
you
big
can
fan
do
of
what
live and
you
let
want
live.
as long as it's consensual, but I'm just
Exactly.
saying that shit is weird. Like, I mean, I understand, like, like
No.
S&M has been around since, like, the libertines and, like, like
Yeah.
the 1400s, whatever. That is, like, something that has been evolving with humanity since humans have existed. The same thing as like transsexuality or homosexuality, since it's been evolving since the beginning of time. Furries is some Care Bear bullshit that started in the 80s. I'm not on board. Like,
Well, let me ask you something.
I-
Do you how do you feel about? Because it's different. How do you feel about puppy play?
I was gonna ask. that.
Right? Is
I
that-
put that all in the same bullshit.
okay.
It's like the same horse shit, the furry shit,
now,
all of this fucking shit. It's like I don't understand it.
is that what that Instagram filter's about on some level?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah. I have one where I put like the.
So how does it work? So I see some random picture of a
And-
chick being all puppy on her Instagram filter. What the hell
I'm
does
gonna
that
rub
mean?
your belly. Like,
Is that how
Here's
it
the
works?
milk bone.
I'll
no,
rub
I
her
mean
belly.
puppy play. It can vary. Like I'm okay with having a little collar on me, and like I'm fine with being pet, but like I'm not going in a cage and eating out of a dog bowl. So like
Right,
there's
they
different
take it
levels
to
of
that
everything.
extent. I cannot give you an explanation. I know a lot of my friends. I have friends who are into puppy
A
play.
lot of my friends are into puppy play.
I really do not understand it. I'm sure it has something to do with maybe control and
like a dominant submission. kind of feel.
dominance and submission. Maybe a little bit of that.
But yeah, I think for me, like I think for everyone, it varies.
but how is
you know?
that? So is that like a genre of S&M onto itself, or is that something that is separate out of S&M? Because I feel like S&M
It's not
is
exactly
like a
S&M. It's about dominance and submission. So, because S&M is sadomasochism.
right.
So dominance and submission. I mean, I can be dominant sometimes, and I can be very submissive sometimes.
We're
So
both
when you think of the
switches.
right, yeah, I'm biracial, bicultural, bisexual. That's me. So it's if you think about a relationship with a person and their pet, that's what that is. Most pets are submissive to their owners. So I mean
like, how
that's the
is-
rationale I have for it.
Okay, but like I guess because I'm not super knowledgeable about this, but like how is that different than like a daddy dom?
I mean, it's just a different kind of role.
Yeah,
like,
it's a
is what
different
I
role
would
play.
say.
It's
Yeah.
a role
like
play.
a
That's
different
the-
kind of ice cream. I think they're both
Yeah,
like kind of the
yeah.
same animal, but it's a different flavor of it.
Right.
So it's
You
like
have-
gelato versus like creamed custard.
Exactly,
To
exactly.
me,
Perhaps.
that's me.
Perhaps.
I don't really know.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It's just a different. And a lot of people think that BDSM is only the pain part of it, but there's also like I have a lot of people that are into kink that are it's like feathers and like oils and like which is all like just because you can get in at Spencer's don't mean it's not kinky. Like
Right.
that shit is kinky just because it's a nice sweet kink.
Right.
It's still a kink. Like you're not like so it's It's just what the level of but
Right.
as far as furries go, I always just remind myself, like, yeah, it's just luck of the draw. Luckily for my bank account, I'm not a furry because those outfits are
Oh
expensive.
my God.
See,
Oh my God!
I-
Even
I-
the
I
dog,
mean,
the doggy masks.
Oh
too.
my
not to
God.
pun, but I feel like you guys are both putting the furries in the doghouse, and I feel like everything else in this conversation has gotten an utter green light of like, if you're into it, great, do it. But here we are, kind of freezing them out because of its cost.
I
and
think I'm the
we're
one
almost
freezing
pitying
them
them.
out.
No,
I'm not mad at you guys. I don't have an interest in much of any of it
I don't either.
personally.
I don't.
but-
Not. It does not. It does not turn me on sexually. I don't have an interest
I
in
still
playing
say
the game.
God bless the furries.
Yeah,
like, if it's
yeah.
what they
I
wanna
love
do,
the
run with it.
costumes. I mean, as an actor, I love those costumes.
As a
'cause they're-
drag queen
As a
lover.
drag queen, right? As a drag queen. If you look at some of them are so well done that they look like they were artist rendered costumes. Like
Yes.
they looked
Right.
at someone's rendering and they said, okay, I know exactly how to make that and make it real. And you look like you look at them and you think it's like right off an anime page.
Yeah.
They are so but
Like-
only the parts where you get sexy with are open so they can let
Right.
their junk hang out
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
And like I would say, I'm as happy that I'm not into furry play as I am that I'm not into cosplay because both are expensive.
yes.
So for
Yeah.
me, it's not about
Now,
the
wait,
sexual
is
thing.
cosplay pretty sexual?
No.
It
it's
can
just-
be.
It can
It
be.
Because I
can be.
prefer it that way,
can be.
frankly.
But most
Sexual
of it,
cosplay sexually.
I'd like
I mean,
that
but
way
most
better.
most of it, I would say, as a whole, isn't. But so for me, it's like cost-effective wise.
Right.
I'm happy that I'm not. Like, I would be fine if I was into it, but I would need a sugar.
Listen,
mama
let,
to
Yeah.
pay for
let me
it.
help you with that. You find someone who can sew. You go to the fabric store, like say a Michael's. You pick up everything in the colors that you need. You have the outfit. You have the look. You say, "Fix this for me."
Fix it.
And another detail, like you ever make a full size form? Like there was a minute that I wanted to make an outfit for a woman I used to date.
Okay. Oh,
And
that's
here's how you make
okay.
a form. Okay, so you put on some tight sweatpants, tight, great. Maybe even spandex, whatever.
Okay.
Tight shirt, great. And then you duct tape the bejesus out of just the clothing. And then once you've duct taped the living hell out of it from every which way angle you can imagine smoothly, you then cut the clothing off of the person and then you reattach it and then you stuff it with like polyfill. So now you've made a 3-dimensional model of the human that you wish to make clothes for. So it's how you craft a form.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you know that?
Because I used to date like a 4'10" physician that I wanted to make like hot clothing for. I don't know why I wanted to do that. I mean, I got a background in the
Jesus
arts.
Christ, he's like getting hotter by the second. I'm sitting here with half a boner. I'm not lying.
Oh,
He's
God.
like, oh my God, and he can make clothes?
Oh my God! Right.
All right, you guys, we should take a quick break. Before we go though, just everybody tell them what projects you're working on, what social media people can follow you on. I am going to start with Mike.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Mikey Dreidel, and on Twitter and Facebook, Mike Drayden. Right now, what I'm working on is the second season of my web series, Last Call. It's pretty much autobiographical about my life when I was living the corporate life as a real estate agent and got into gay nightlife and porn and wanting to open my own gym. But in the story, it's about opening my own bar.
Okay. Michael?
I'm just basically a sailor. I've got a captain's license. If anybody wants to go sailing or learn about cryptocurrency, feel free to email me at mikebenson24@gmail.com. I'm in the early stages of sort of defining my scope and vision of what I'd like to accomplish, but that's kind of the direction I see myself headed in.
AJ Mattioli.
Hey, so you can always find me on Instagram, social media at MattioliPro. And right now I'm working on a horror movie dealing with the Me Too movement. And we make sure that all the violators of consent get their dicks bitten off or killed in one way or another. So, yeah. So that is Guys at Parties Like It, and you could look that up on all social media.
Follow this show on Twitter at The Blamestorm. Follow me on Twitter at Marissa Smith. Also, check out my other podcast, Big Talk and Brewskis. You can follow that on Twitter at Big Talk and Brew. We will be right back.